Riverside.
I woke up with so many notifications, and I think it's a little bit of I took a shot at Dylan Thieneman and Pacific time zone early in the morning. It comes across Oregon fans' timelines. But then probably opioids and the narcotic crisis in Alabama keeping people up late. They also were discovering things late at night. And I'm realizing that the next 9 days are going to be a lot of fun, gentlemen. A lot of fun because Alabama fans are ready. We thought Ohio State fans were ready to jump in our mentions. Alabama's not even good, and they're jumping into our mentions.
It just means more, man. It just means more. So we can't wait for the
just
battles
means
to
more
come.
in the SEC,
I think
right?
they've trained their whole life in politics to like really just be college football fans and following Alabama. So, hey, as Indiana fans, this is going to be great. Jamie, we have Jamie Jordan guest hosting with us today from Hoosier Huddle, IU Reactionary. Jamie, thanks for being on with us.
Appreciate it, guys. Really excited to be here.
Oh
again.
yeah, it's gonna be a good time. You're listening to the Kirkwood and Dunn podcast. My name is Trent.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Jamie.
And he's Jamie. All right, guys, we watched college football first round. I'm gonna enjoy this podcast, Tim, because I always think like Jamie's just gonna sit out when we're just taking our really hot takes because he knows he's like, if Trent clips me,
yeah,
this is gonna be a thing. We watched the first round yesterday, college football. There's a lot of college football haters, but we'll talk about the Alabama-Oklahoma game as Indiana is going to play Alabama in the Rose Bowl. That game was a wild one. I thought obviously Oklahoma's going to win. We'll get to that game in a second. But the other three games, what was your all's reaction to the first round college football playoff? Jamie, why don't you just go ahead and jump in first?
Well, I did think it was ironic that there was a lot of talk about the the G5 schools kind of getting crapped on the entire weekend after the poor showing. But the team that scored the least amount of points was at home, and it was Texas A&M. So anyway, yeah, I just think that there. I wanted to kind of mention this. I'm in favor of leaving the G5 and letting them play the big boys. Like I think it's great for the sport. I don't think that some of the games are going to be close anyway. I mean, we've seen blowouts all over the place with Power 5 playing Power 5. So I just think that, I kind of expected those G5 schools to lose. However, I also think that it's, unfair that they just get lumped in. Oh, they got blown out. Well, Tennessee got blown out last year. Oregon was down 31-0 in the second quarter last year in the Rose Bowl against Ohio State. It happens. It's college football. This is how it works. And do I think that Texas might have had a different result at Ole Miss? Maybe, but I still think they lose by a couple scores. Like, I don't know. Ole Miss looked really good yesterday. So, we'll see. But I just, that's kind of my broad takeaway. And then obviously we'll get into Alabama, Oklahoma.
Well, there was a lot of like national conversation about this. And isn't the whole problem is just the ACC and their tiebreakers and record and Duke was their champion? Because if we would have had Tulane or James Madison as that 12th seed and they would have got boat raced by the 5th seed, I don't think anyone really cares. It was just that you got two G5s in, and so there was two games that wasn't, and a rematch. Like that was another thing. It was Tulane Ole Miss rematching in the game. While Tulane played it closer, it looked a lot like the same thing we saw.
Yeah, it was very similar, and I do understand that. And like, but that's an argument to like ACT needs to get their house in order because like you can't just be putting crap out there. Like Virginia was good for most of the year, but those teams are like they're up and down. They're just completely mediocre teams. So they just got to get their act together, and then this won't happen, and then we won't have people standing for not having the G5 in there or trying to create a G5 playoff where it was like, we already have, FCS, we have FBS. Why do we need a G5 spinoff? I don't really get it. So, at least that's how I feel about it. I know a lot of people feel differently.
I really thought like this was the same thing as last year, as you pointed out, Jamie, of like these games there's blowouts last year. There's probably blowouts this year. I I think what happens in college football is that we end up spending most of the season of like, oh, who moved up in the polls, who dropped out of the polls, and we're looking at it. The big matchup of the week is the number 20 team at the number 11 team, and we're like, wow, what a big upset. But like the reality might be still in college football that like actually there's like three good teams and like three and like and that's kind of it actually. Like everybody else, like
I think you're
fine,
100% right.
they're fun to watch, whatever else. But like legitimately, it might just be Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. I guess Georgia. People keep wanting to put an SEC team in there. I don't know. I don't believe that Georgia's like some giant figure. But it's and what I think we're realizing is that when you actually have like a really strong quarterback in college football, that's a game changer. And when you don't have a really strong quarterback who can make plays, read a defense consistently, not throw interceptions, you really have the upper hand advantage. And I mean, we saw that with Dante Moore in Oregon last night. I think we've all seen it, of course, with Fernando Mendoza and Julian Sand for Ohio State and Indiana. But like, there are to rank the college football teams, I think you just rank that by quarterback. And I think there's a big gap after those three and everybody else. And I think what we saw yesterday was a lot of poo-poo platter because that's just what it is in the SEC. There's no good quarterbacks. Ty Simpson, I tweeted yesterday, Ty Simpson would get dog walked by Luke Altmaier. Like Kalen
You inspired
DeBoer,
my video, by the way. You inspired that video.
Kalen DeBoer would do backflips to have Luke Altmaier as his quarterback right now. Like this is what are we talking about with Alabama in the SEC? What are we talking about with Oregon and John Mateer? What are we talking about with Carson Beck in Miami? Get out of here! Like that was my thing yesterday. Watching these games and thinking about the rest of the playoffs, not only how Indiana fits in, but the rest of the entire bracket. Just tell me who's the better quarterback, and that's the team that I'm going to pick to win.
I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Oh, let me just jump in if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I do think Ty Simpson is a good quarterback. I also think that, they got those two games. If you watch the first Oklahoma-Alabama game, that game was the inverse of the game that they had just previously played, where Alabama completely outplayed them. I mean, Alabama had like 240 yards of offense in this game. John Mateer was actually moving the ball down the field, and that's like that offense is like worse than Iowa's. Like their offense is a joke. Bad. So when you get people in your mentions being like, well, they have I have people in my mentions that talking about how Alabama has a great defense, and it's like, well, I don't know, man. I just watched a bad offense go down the field multiple times against your defense, and then if John Mateer doesn't just throw the worst interception maybe I've ever seen, that almost looked like point shaving situation, like. Maybe the outcome of that game is different. They also had a drop where he could have just ran for like 20. They're up 17-0. It's third down. He rolls out. He throws a pass. It's dropped. That ball, he could have just run for like 40 yards on that play. Instead, he just threw the ball. But I'm just saying, like, there was stuff that they left out there, and that was a bad offense. So as much as people want to talk about how, wow, what a huge win. It was a great win for Alabama, but it was also, I thought Oklahoma was the better team, and they just didn't score the most points. I mean, That's kind of how it works in college football. So,
well, I mean, we'll dive more into that Alabama and Oklahoma game here in a second, because I think it did tell us a lot. I mean, it's always hard to play a team twice, and we saw two rematches in the first round, which is just like one thing I'll say about, we all know about the NCAA March Madness bracket selection. They do try to avoid a lot of those rematches, and I really wish on some level, it's just kind of, their hands were tied with two G5 teams in here. Okay, a couple things. One, Tim, you better be happy that there was G5 teams in there, because that gave you the permission to get absolutely blasted during the Bears-Packers game, which is why you are on the struggle bus this morning and not having to watch Oregon JMU very closely. So thank you, College Football Playoff Selection Committee, for protecting my friend's Tim's viewing time and beer consumption. But the second thing is to your point, Tim, Ty Simpson might be a good quarterback, and there's probably numbers that, trust me, Jamie's going to come with to back that up.
I will bring you some
numbers. But Ty Simpson's hand is tied behind his back because they can't run the ball, and so I mean, Fernando Mendoza would struggle if he had to pass every play because it's like running into a wall every time because their running backs either can't find the holes or the offensive line can't blow them open. It is incredible to watch that. And so having said that, yeah, you look at, we said Marcel Reed, Carson Beck was going to be a wild game because of turnovers. It maybe didn't have a lot of scoring. It was terrible football, but look at how that game ended with that pass at the end. So I'm looking at the next round and going, oh, Texas Tech's quarterback, not that good. Like, we'll probably have Oregon in the semifinals. Ty Simpson at Indiana, we'll talk about that matchup, but obviously I'm going to be favoring Indiana in that game. And then Ohio State boat racing Miami would not shock me through this. And so I love your like quarterback take. I think it's a big thing in college football. Okay, so let's talk about Alabama, Oklahoma. Guys, who tweeted out something making fun of Alabama when Oklahoma went up 17-0? I'm raising my hand for those listening on the audio version. Oh, we're all raising our hand. We're all raising our hand.
I think Twitter collectively did that because it was like people that I don't even follow were being put in my feed that were like roasting them.
Oh yeah.
I tweeted that Kalen DeBoer got hired and then fired from Michigan, all in that 17-point deficit that he created with Oklahoma.
I was calling for Sean McDonough and McElroy to come outside to apologize to Indiana for last year with that whole thing. So yeah, it was a wild game. I'm watching that game and thinking to myself, I think Alabama and Oklahoma would be, tell me if I'm wrong with this, the 4th and 5th best team on Indiana's schedule this year? Would that be
they're
the
not
case?
Better than Oklahoma, or excuse me, they're not better than Oregon. They're not better than Ohio State.
Iowa.
State.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Look, so for me, like, people can look at Penn State. Penn State ended up, being 6-6 and going to a bowl. They're bowl eligible for as much turmoil as they had. They also, if you look at FPI, they're still in the top 25. They have one of the best defenses in the nation, and I think that people overlook that. It wasn't. Yes, IU kind of struggled. IU also took their foot off the gas. I think we spoke about this last time that I was on, and in that game, IU was up 20-7. I just watched a bunch of the extended highlights last night because that game was kind of boring in the first quarter. And so I just threw on the highlights on my TV and I was just watching, and like IU was kind of handling the game. The game was essentially over and they took their foot off the gas. And they know they can't do that you can't do that against teams like this. And I think they learned their lesson because they haven't really done that, at all since. I'm just saying that my point is that there was other teams on the schedule that I think at least in some aspects match up with these teams. Now, Alabama has awesome wins, but they also, I don't know, they have that Oklahoma loss was very bad.
This is my whole thing with the SEC. It's so incestual. Like we say they have awesome
it's a circular
wins.
firing squad.
Yes, because they're like beating the teams. Yeah, I probably shouldn't use incestual with describing the SEC. I think I'm a shot at something else. So I like circular firing squad because they're beating each other. They're propping them. Like there's like this false assumption that this team is good because they only play these other teams who play these other teams, and maybe they're all just not very good, which is what we've learned the last kind of year and a half, 2 years of college football.
And I think that if you look at if you look at who Texas A&M beat during the season, if you look at their schedule and look at who they beat every team that was in the bottom half of the SEC and then lost to Texas. Like, they didn't play any. People complain about IU not beating anybody even last year. Go look at Texas A&M's schedule this year and tell me what good teams did they beat, because there were teams like Tennessee and Missouri kept being were continually ranked. Those teams are garbage. I'm sorry, they're just not good teams. There's no difference between them and Minnesota. What's that? Exactly. I agree with you. I'm just saying that like there's no difference between like those middling teams. They might be a little bit better than teams like Minnesota, but they're just like on the same kind of spectrum. They can beat teams if they play well. Mm-hmm. They can also just lose, which they did. Like that game, the Missouri game against Vanderbilt, where Pavia was equally as terrible. That was like his worst game. Like they won that game. Vanderbilt won that game. And I just was completely unimpressed with both teams, and both teams ended up having 9 and 10 wins. So it's like, What are we watching here? If you watch those games, it just doesn't look like a team with 10 wins. It doesn't look like a team with 9 wins. So, I don't think I think one of the differences is that a lot of the middling teams in the Big Ten just beat the other middling teams in the Big Ten, so they all end up kind of like in a middling area. Whereas the SEC, everyone beats Kentucky. Everyone beats the bad teams in the Mississippi State ended up not being very good, even though they get 4 cupcake wins. I think that'll change, obviously, as they're going to a different schedule. But again, there is stat padding on that side, and people don't accept that it's actually like you're padding your win total with bad teams. They just assume that those teams are actually good, and they're actually not good if you look at the statistics and you follow the sport. That's why last night I tweeted out, like, you're going to learn this week how people learn that if they watch college football, then you're going to learn that they just watch college football or they just watch the SEC. Because like if you watch college football writ large, there's a lot of good teams out there that the SEC people seem to just poo-poo all the time, and I don't really get it. So that just shows me that they're not watching the rest of the sport, which is frustrating in my opinion.
Tim, like Oklahoma was up 17-0 in that game, and am I wrong to say if they had a better quarterback than John Mateer, they win that game? Because like we talked about the point shaving. Jamie's going to go check John Mateer's Venmos. Second, we talked about like just the absolute miss of wide receivers that he's had and the drops. Like I remember the scramble play that he had that he got loose and he chucked it 35 yards downfield and their guy dropped it on the 15. Like those are the things like it strikes me as if Oklahoma just has a better quarterback by the way that game started, Oklahoma's playing Indiana in the Rose Bowl.
Right. And then I wonder what the 17-0 lead looks like if they had a better quarterback during that phase. Like, are they up 31-0, right? Like, are they up even more? Like, what does that sort of entail? And you're right to say that like Oklahoma had a very good defense. That's what they leaned on all year. That was their strength. And I think arguably the best unit of the 4 units for that game. But rubber hits the road ultimately. And there was only so much that defense could do. And Alabama kept getting possessions, kept getting, 3 and outs against the Oklahoma offense. And then so the defense was right back out there trying to stop them. And John Mateer was not going to be able to do just even a baseline. I wonder where Oklahoma goes here in the offseason. This is not a Oklahoma offseason podcast. We're an Indiana podcast, but these are the things that like, I think are shaping college football. It's shaping the Indiana debate in some ways, which is like, who's our quarterback next year? I think we get it now. Like, a quarterback is like really important. We did all start watching football 18 months ago, and we have learned in those 18 months that quarterback is important. Oklahoma found that out in the worst way yesterday.
Well, and just to put some numbers on that, John Mateer, just looking at PFF quickly here, Mateer finished 119th in PFF grade by quarterback. I mean, he's down there with Caden
out of like 120.
Well, he's like down there. So I'm just
Jalen
there's 165 that have played 20% of snaps, 20% of the total snaps needed, and he's like down. I mean, he's down there with a lot of bad quarterbacks. And the other thing was he had 12 big time throws to 20 turnover worthy plays. He was just bad this year, and I think some of it had to do with. I think he had kind of the same injury. He hit his hand he like broke his thumb or whatever on someone's helmet. So that could explain a lot of it because he's trying to come back. But you're just not going to win big games with bad quarterback play, and that's it. That's why they lost. I mean, that's just if your quarterback's going to make a bunch of mistakes, or he can't push the ball down the field, you're not going to win big games against teams with a lot of athletes and teams that have a really good game plan. And that's one of the things that IU has been blessed with is that they now this year specifically have both really good athletes on both sides of the ball, and they have a quarterback that doesn't make dumb plays, and they can finally they can nickel and dime you down the field. That's what I anticipate we see coming. With this Alabama game, that's where I'm kind of at with that. I just think that Alabama's going to try not to get beat deep, and I think that IU is going to be able to nickel and dime down the field because that's what John Mateer did, and he's not a good quarterback. So,
Yeah.
or at
Well,
least
we have
this
a social
iteration of.
we have a social contract. I had everyone on Twitter sign that no one will search my tweets for Kalen DeBoer love because what we're about to talk about. But Kalen DeBoer, obviously, his ties with Indiana, he still loves Indiana, guys. You can tell. Like, he has such a passion for it. You see it from his interviews. You see it from him sending Nick Sheridan to Michigan State and just helping Indiana out. Like, these are the things that Kalen DeBoer is looking out for. So you know his heart's there. Like, maybe if Sig leaves, like, it's Brian Haynes or Kalen DeBoer after Sheridan's going to East Lansing. It might be. But Kalen DeBoer is an offensive genius. I will be like him at Fresno State, Washington, what he did in 2019 in Indiana. Like, the 2019 team was better than the 2020 team, even though the 2020 team obviously had the better record, but
Had
it was a
more wins,
COVID
yeah.
year. It was a weird year. And Kalen DeBoer, they cannot run the ball for the life of them. Jam Miller, everyone's like, well, Jam Miller's been hurt. Jam Miller comes back. He had 7 rushes for 11 yards. They had like 84 yards, or no, not even that. Like, I'm not looking at it. It's like 43 yards or something ridiculous like that. And they had one 35-yard play. Like, Alabama can't run the ball. Like, what is going on that they can't figure that out? And how much does being one hand tied behind your back gonna hurt Alabama, especially when, guys, where's Ryan Williams?
Oh, he's done.
He had one catch for 5 yards in that game. And just to your point, Jam Miller was 7 for 11. Daniel Hill was 9 for 43. I thought he was pretty impressive.
He's way better.
30-yard run.
Better.
Yeah, he had a 30-yard run.
Better.
They had 25 carries combined, and this includes sacks, for 28 yards, 1.1 average. They had a 30-yard run by Daniel Hill, which, that's why his numbers look normal. One of the things that I took away also from that game is that not only can they not run, but Oklahoma's run defense is really good. You know who else has a very, very good run defense? Indiana. Indiana has a very, very good run defense. So that's one of the matchups that I just, they're going to have to, their wide receivers are going to have to make huge plays, in my opinion, because I don't think that they're going to run the ball very well. We'll see, I guess, but that's my initial take just from looking at the numbers and stuff.
Do you put D'Angelo Ponce on Ryan Williams? I don't think you do. Like, I know we play zone. I know we play zone, but like, obviously they moved D'Angelo Ponce to shadow wherever Jeremiah Smith was. Like, do you do that? Do you it, Bedard?
Yeah, Jeremy Bernard. I thought he was.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually thought that the Brooks kid looked really, really good. The Latsier Brooks, like that, he had 2 touchdowns, but he's only a freshman and he's small. That's a guy that, like, yikes. Like, that's the guy, the gadget guy kind of player that, like, that's the one I'm a little bit nervous about. The slot guy that can make plays over the middle. But that, those are the type of guys that, honestly, people don't talk about this, but like, Pons, they talk about Pons a lot. Pons is awesome. He's going to be drafted this year, almost for sure. But Jamari Sharp's been really, really good himself. So I think people kind of forget that. And I think that we need to remember just how good the other side is Jamari Sharp, he played 657 snaps this year. He's second on the team. Kid was out there all the time. Had a 79.1 PFF grade, which is very, very good. I mean, that's right up there with Amari Farrell, with Lewis Moore. He's below D'Angelo Ponce, but he's ahead of Elijah Hardy. I mean, IU has really good athletes out there, and that's where I think that IU again has an advantage, and I just think that we're going to see that, and I think that's where the fans are discounting. The SEC fans, specifically in Alabama fans, are discounting just how good Indiana's defense actually is. So,
Tim, I had an Alabama fan coming at me about Aiden Fisher, that he's a liability on the Indiana defense. This is what we've resulted to on. Like,
these fucking idiots need to go chew glass. Like, dear God, like, watch some fucking football. Like,
he did. He told me he watched every tape, like every game yesterday of Indiana, and so Aiden Fisher in coverage is a major liability.
Is gonna turn Ty Simpson into Jake Paul. He's gonna break his fucking jaw. Like, what are we talking about? Aiden Fisher is a heat-seeking missile coming through that sieve of an offensive line. This is the thing. We think about like this Alabama offense and the IU defense in terms of a matchup. As you said, Alabama cannot run the ball against bad defenses. What are they going to do against a really good, like legitimate top 2 defense in the country? Like absolutely fucking nothing. And then it's going to be 3rd and 8 every single possession. And Brian Haynes is going to, scheme up a zone blitz scheme or something. And I don't trust Ty Simpson to figure it out to get the blocking assignments right. I don't trust the offensive line to execute the blocking assignments. So it's going to take quasi-miracle plays by the wide receiver group out of Alabama to execute and win the game ultimately. The thing that like Alabama fans are going to chirp on it is how they stuff their pillows at night is like, well, we've got all the 5-star talent. And this is a ball knower podcast. We are 3 ball knowers on here. Your 5-stars suck, dude. The problem is that Ryan Williams can't catch the ball. It's a key part of playing wide receiver. Like the difference is our 3-stars are a lot better than your 5-stars. Da-da-da! Like that's the name of the game. Like where do you think all this stuff is like coming from? Do you think Indiana is not here because of like some schedule? They're not here because of like turnover luck. They're not here because of trick plays. They're honestly not even really here because of like, I would like true schematic genius. This like, I think our coaches are really good. And I think they're on the forefront of college football, like schematically or whatever else. But this is not like Chip Kelly in Oregon in the early 2000s. And people are like, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is not Mike Leach at Texas Tech, right? Like, oh my God, like what are we even seeing out there? Like they know kind of what's happening. It's just really hard to defend. And we're better than every SEC team. Like, it's just a flat out fact. Like, who cares that Gunnar Stockton was ranked the number 3 quarterback? You know who's a lot effing better? The Heisman winner, Fernando Mendoza, who was ranked 125th. So, I have allocated already a lot of capital to this gambling spread in many ways. And I'm going to continue to allocate more capital because it is a safety issue when Indiana is going to play Alabama in the Rose Bowl. Flat out. They don't match up at all at any level.
Jamie, do you care to respond?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think so. I just want to say, I know that I named myself the IU reactionary. I do think Alabama is really good. I just think that IU is a better team. And I think that that's where it just, if we're going to just, break it down like that, I don't think that these people watch the games. That's the thing that is the problem here. People, it just was like, I get these things put in my For You that it's like, I am going to be hammering Alabama at +7. And it's like, you didn't watch the games. Like IU is a very good team. Like, I just think that we'll see where that line goes. But I like Alabama is good. I don't think IU is going to be taking them for granted. We'll see. Like if they had a month off. That one of the things I am a little bit concerned about is the time off that IU had. Will it take them 2 or 3 drives to get the ball rolling? And the other thing is that we saw how Alabama looked when they started the game. I mean, they could start the same way. And one of the things that I think that is different between Oklahoma and IU is that IU will not let you off the mat because they are going to continue to hammer you, and they're not going to make stupid plays where, that play by Mateer where he could have ended the game with that throw and catch. Yes, the kid dropped the ball. Mateer had a 40-yard run by himself. He was completely alone out there on 3rd down. He could have run for 40 yards and might have scored a touchdown, put him up 24-0. The game is essentially over with how good Oklahoma's defense is. So, one of the things that I am nervous about is the start. We've seen IU kind of get off to a little bit of a slow start, and then they just figure out oh, this is the thing that beats this team. This is what they're doing on offense and on defense. And then they just tighten the screws, and then they beat people into bloody pulps. But I do think that just IU's a better team. And I think that people need to understand that. And they're not getting as much, love as they deserve. And then you're seeing it even when you see there was a CBS guy who I was all over because he said if IU lost to Ohio State, they should move out of the top 4, which I thought was kind of an insane thing to say. But then he was saying I'm all in on IU to beat Alabama, and people and the mentions were just getting blown up. It's like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like, I kind of agree that he doesn't know what he's talking about, but on this particular topic, I think he does know what he's talking about. I think that he actually watches the games. So, we'll see who actually watches the games as the week goes on, and I'm very excited to see that.
So we're at the stage of like college football in this late quarterfinal that any team can beat any team. I really do believe that. Like it is a fact of playing decent teams. I am not going to go as far as say that in relative to the national championship contention, that Alabama is a good team, because I think that they are. This is why I wanted to play Alabama. Like when I said before the game, I was like, I want to play Alabama, and I get it. And I had people talking to me about like, hey, I don't want to play Alabama because their ceiling is higher, right? Like that is true. But you kind of hit it. Oklahoma's defense, if we would have come out slow on offense, like is susceptible to do, Oklahoma's defense would have been a problem for me. Like I just like, if you look at like units of the ball, of the 6 units in the Oklahoma and Alabama game, there was one elite unit, and it was Oklahoma's. Everybody, like Alabama's offense is good, not great. Like, and I'm talking about late in the season, because at the beginning of the season,
my 3-year-old ran in here. I apologize.
Oh no, it's all right. Yeah, it's all good.
The 3-year-old knows more ball than the Feinbaum listeners, so bring them on. Yeah, let's get them to talk matchups.
So like Tim, like that's my whole thing is like they're good, not great. Like it is.
I don't even think they're
for on the offensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball. But then you take this defense. For Mike Shanahan and Fernando Mendoza getting off the bus, scores 24 against this defense. Like it's not. This isn't playing Penn State's defense. This isn't playing Ohio State's defense. This isn't playing Iowa's defense. We witnessed Swarm D and Tom Allen's little model crumble again and again against big teams. Like it is not a good, like it wins games. Like you can win a lot of games that way. And there's no doubt that Kane Womack has better athletes than he ever did at Indiana on the defensive side of the ball. But look at Penn State last year in the playoffs. That Tom Allen based defense just doesn't work against good, solid, balanced offensive teams. Yeah. And that's why I am so unfazed going into this game. And I'm going to talk so much shit this week because I am so unfazed. It is like, I'm not even worried. I would have been like kind of worried about Oklahoma. The only thing that would make me worried is injuries. And I think of all the matchups, this Stephen Daly injury is like Alabama's probably a good team to have when you're losing Stephen Daly, because I don't think you need that elite of, you can team rush against Alabama. Like they're not running the ball on you, so you know they're passing. Like our linebackers can get a lot of sacks against Ty Simpson.
I think that
all over the place.
So no. I agree with you. I think that one of the reasons that IU's defense has been just so good this year, and I don't think people kind of understand it, is that Devin Boykin has been awesome. If you look at Devin Boykin's PFF grade, he's been great. But they run so much base 4-3 and not 4-2-5 as much. They switch it up based on who they're playing. But when they can play 3 linebackers out there at the same time, you're just not going to run the ball. And I think that we'll see how they diagnose this, because I think Devin Boykin's going to play a lot more, because I don't think that they're that worried about the run game for Alabama. But I do think I do think that when you look at it, like just what you said, it's very hard to see them running the ball, even with the Stephen Daly injury. I think that because it's going to be very hard for them to run the ball, we're going to see they're going to learn D'Angelo Pons, and they're going to learn Jamari Sharp, and they're going to learn Amari Farrell. Like IU has a very good secondary. People aren't talking about that. Like Ty Simpson, I know you said that he is not a good quarterback. He's been pretty good this year. We'll see what happens when he plays
one hand tied behind back. It's hard for any quarterback to be good.
True. And I just want to say,
that's my
IU is 5th. Here's the other thing. FPI, the ESPN stat or metrics thing that they used to pump up the SEC. Indiana is 5th on offense and 3rd on defense. Okay. Like IU is a very, very good team all the way around. Alabama is 16th on offense and 9th on defense. They're not a bad team, but they're just not at IU's level. And that's why the spread is 7 points. And that's why, I haven't been talking as much trash because I have the PTSD of my entire IU football fandom. But I still think that IU is just a much better team this year than Alabama. Now we'll see what happens on the field. And I'm very excited to see it because, for the storylines and for IU, obviously. And, IU could lose. I don't think they're going to, but, it's a possibility. I just think that we're going to watch a very, very good defense play a pretty good offense that can't run the ball. And we're going to watch a very good offense play a pretty good defense that IU is going to be able to pass on. So I don't, that's kind of where I see it. And that's how I see it going. That's what I'm going to be writing about. So,
Tim, I want to be very clear. There are teams that make me nervous in this bracket, or in this stuff. I won't be as confident going into what I think will be an eventual game of Oregon, Indiana in the semifinal.
Yeah, I agree.
And I won't be as confident rematching Ohio State. I think we have a chance to win those games, but I think those are really elite teams that we're an elite team and you can win on any day. Tim, from a coaching perspective, the one thing that national media will say, because national media can't be like, well, Indiana's going to overwhelm you with talent. So they have to look at you and go, okay, this is why they do it. They will say Indiana does not make mistakes.
Yeah.
Alabama needed Oklahoma to make mistakes in that game. What does
Alabama's needed the opponents to make mistakes the entire season? Let's do a little fun Alabama schedule review for the audience. A little schedule talk. I think that's what everybody wants to hear. But they open the season, admittedly in a hurricane in Tallahassee. But that Florida State team is bad. Legitimately bad. I'm not just making fun of teams being bad, Florida State very bad. And looking back on I think after that Alabama wins some games, and I think we were well, it's Ty Simpson's first start, it's on the road, bad weather, and we all kind of justified it in a way. But I think what that really did is expose how much Alabama needs to play a very particular type of game for them to win. That they need certain things to go their way. They can't get exposed with their weaknesses. They need to be able to play to their strengths. So they lose that game. Their best win that everybody keeps thinking about, but remember this, they go Saturday, September 27th. They go to Georgia. They score the first 24 points of that game, but then they don't score the rest of the game. Georgia, very young team, very talented team, but very young.
Yeah, they were shut out in the second half.
Yeah, Georgia starts to make a comeback, but is not able to pull it off. So they win by 3 points on the road at Georgia. But after that, they beat Vanderbilt, but Diego Pavia lost his Heisman there because he kept making red zone turnovers.
Yeah.
And so they win by 2 scores, but those are Pavia scores. They beat a bad Missouri team, but by 3 points on the road. They beat a Tennessee team that is very bad, had the almost A&M type of a schedule where they could only beat the bad teams, but Tennessee couldn't beat a good team. But for some reason, they were ranked 11th when they played Alabama. They go on, they barely beat South Carolina on the road. South Carolina, very bad. They win by 7. They beat LSU at home 20-9. LSU is a dumpster fire. LSU was already out doing yoga with Lane Kiffin on November 8th. and Alabama's well, we beat LSU. They lose that Oklahoma game. Eastern Illinois is the annual SEC company retreat weekend. They barely beat Auburn rival game. They get their asses kicked by Georgia again, the SEC championship. They luck out against Oklahoma. This team is not actually, they're not national title contender good. I will acknowledge that JB is doing the appropriate thing of saying they are in general, out of the 140 some college football teams, whatever, they are a good team. Sure. They are not a national title contending good team. And the schedule has proven that time and time again. So when we get to January 1st, I think IU fans should be very confident, should be talking trash, and should be talking about we're the new hotness in college football. You're old. take your houndstooth and go hell home. Like we're on candy stripes now. This is the new fit. So you're out, Alabama.
Okay, I
Well,
want to jump in real
can I
quick,
just
Jamie. I
quickly
want
add,
to
like,
Jamie.
no,
Actually,
no,
I want to jump in real quick, real
oh,
quick
go
here,
ahead. Yeah, please.
because he just opened the door. Now, this is where Tim can go to sleep because this is a college football history lesson here. 1926, Alabama goes to the Rose Bowl. They beat Washington. I had a tweet about this. You
Wow.
can go read it. It was the game that put the Southern football, because they always felt disrespected. They still felt disrespected. They still feel the disrespect for some reason. That was the game that put Alabama and the South on the map in college football, because it was a Northern Ivy League, Michigan, Notre Dame like team, right? It feels like 100 years later, they're going back to the Rose Bowl, and we're going to be closing the book on the Southern football chapter if Indiana boat races Alabama out in the Rose Bowl. And so for Tim's whole point, like, we have a chance to just, I think the era of Southern dominance is over, and this might be the next time that the South calls it the War of Northern Aggression. All right, Jamie, if you want to jump in here.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's a very I didn't see your tweet, but I didn't even know that they played in the Rose Bowl, so that's crazy. I just thought that, like, what happened was that just quickly looking at the schedule. I watched that Florida State game. They looked terrible. Um, do you know how many 100-yard rushers they had this season?
0.
I mean,
Right?
They had one against Vanderbilt. That was Jam Miller had 136. The next
and he had
highest
a
is
couple
83.
big runs. Yeah,
Right.
Jam Miller had some big runs.
They cannot run the ball, and if Ty Simpson doesn't play out of his mind, they're going to have a hard time beating pretty much anyone. Because he threw for 122 yards against Auburn and 212 against Georgia, 140. They took him out in that Eastern Illinois game, but like he was better in the middle of the season, and then things started to tail off. I know he got hurt, but I also think that, like, people kind of just figured out that they were totally one dimensional, and they can't really open up holes for Jam Miller. They also have injuries on the offensive line. I know Parker Brailsford is a really, really good interior lineman. He is wearing like what the Drew Evans brace, but like times 5 on his ankle. And it just looks like, okay, he can't really move. And they did get Josh Cuevas back, who I think is a really, really good tight end. That's one of the things that has traditionally hurt Indiana. It didn't hurt him against Ohio State, and they have some pretty good tight ends.
Shockingly.
So, yeah, so I'm less worried about that. I do think that Cuevas was very good, but this isn't. They also had Oklahoma had 4 sacks. They had 6 tackles for a loss. Oklahoma's defense still got theirs, and I think that IU's defense is as good or better than Oklahoma's defense. Actually, let me go back. IU's defense is better than Oklahoma's defense, I think. So I think that IU is going to it's going to be a similar situation. And if Ty Simpson stands on his head and those receivers actually catch the ball, then maybe it's a closer game. I still think that IU is going to win. And I think that the 7 points is like a fair spread. I think that that's at least a score is what IU is going to win by.
Okay, I want to zoom out, 1,000-foot view. What does it mean to both of you? Tim, I'll go to you first. What does it mean to both of you that Indiana is playing Alabama? Because no matter what, Alabama is a iconic brand in college football. All of us can say, I'm not here to diminish their number of national championships, like their elite coaches. Sorry, the 2 elite coaches they've had, because everything else has been really bad. And the number of SEC championships, the players they put in the league, Saban's run, like all that stuff. I'm not here to diminish that. Like, it's really good. Is it fitting that they are the team that we are playing here in the Rose Bowl?
Sure. I think what it is more so is the epitome of the changing college football landscape. Like Alabama represents an era of college football that is now dead, that people refuse to acknowledge, that they're too busy watching helmets. That, oh yeah, you acquire all the talent and you drop off some cash in a McDonald's bag and voila, and there you go. That's how you win college football games. Well, Indiana learned to pay college football players too now in the last few years, and we got rid of arcane like transfer restrictions, so you couldn't just literally hoard talent in those same ways. And now all of a sudden, like we said in our podcast on Thursday, oh, like we decided we wanted to win a football and now we are. Like what? It was supposed to be hard? Like no, this is the it's a changing of the guard, not even just in brands, it's a changing of the guard in college football. Like the way you win in 2025 is totally different than what it was even in 2022. So the folks that are going to be stomping around calling into Paul Feinbaum this week about Alabama and whatever else, they view college football through a lens that doesn't exist anymore. It was what existed in the 2010s, and that is what this Rose Bowl game is going to like represent in my mind, which is the way you build a college football team in the future is the way Indiana has, and the way you used to do it is what Alabama did, and Alabama is going to have to learn the hard way about how they need to be successful now going forward.
Jamie, what does it mean to you playing Alabama in the Rose Bowl?
Oh, I'm pumped. I mean, this is like getting to the Rose Bowl. I feel like was like a validation of like what, the work that the guys put in, the people that have been fans for so long that have been waiting for something like this, and facing Oklahoma, probably would have preferred to face Oklahoma, I guess, but facing Alabama, like every team is good now, so like let's just play. Give me Alabama. Like I would like to play a good team, have a good game. I'm pumped. It's going to be in the Rose Bowl. IU hasn't been. What was it? I mean, what was the last time they were in the Rose Bowl? 60 years ago or something like
68?
that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like 50 years ago. It's. I'm so excited. For the entire like even like the nonsense around it. Like I always, the Rose Bowl, like the parade. Like I was always like, this is stupid because I don't care about the teams that are in it. It doesn't matter to me. But now for me, it's like I'm going to be watching this because this is like this is a validation of Indiana putting the resources, having getting the right coach, getting the right players, the administration paying the players. I don't know if I talked about this, but on your podcast before, but Tim's absolutely right. College football is a completely different game than it was even 3 years ago. And now that you can pay players, Mark Cuban is not going to Denny's in Bloomington to give a kid 50 grand in a bag. He's not doing that. But, the guy that owns 3 Chevy dealerships in Tuscaloosa, he's doing that. And that was happening back in the day. And I'm not saying that Northern schools didn't do that. I'm sure Michigan did. I'm sure Ohio State did. But IU certainly did not do that. They just definitely did not. And now that you can actually pay the players and, there's people don't realize there's a lot of rich alums from IU. I mean, the Simon people own like 50 malls. Like they're billionaires. Like it's not just them. And I think that, right. And I think that the South, I don't think that the Southern schools realized what they were unleashing with this. Like I'm all for paying the players, all for it. But I don't think that they realized what they were unleashing. And so I couldn't be more happy to face a team like Alabama that has all these 5 stars. Like it's a huge deal to me as an IU fan that if and when IU wins, that's another like put it on the back of your helmet. It's a thing that like, yes, this team did it and they deserve to do it because they're a good football team and because they put the resources in, they got the right people. So it's a huge deal to me. Huge. And I hope, and again, I think that they're going to win, but I think that when they do win, it's a validation of all the stuff that they actually did from the top down. And, I am very thankful for Scott Dolson for understanding the importance of football. And it's, I think Galen Clavio has said this multiple times, but like the ability to, there's no better marketing than elite
A winning football team.
Correct. Elite football play. And I can't even imagine like the number, it's going to improve the brand. It's going to improve the enrollment. It's going to improve all this stuff that as an 2006 IU grad, I've been waiting for that forever. Like we wanted this, like it's a different thing. And it's such a huge deal. And I'm so excited and I can't wait for January 1st, to watch because I'm just so locked in. I can't even wait.
So I encourage everyone to go like and subscribe Kirkwood and Dunn on TikTok, Instagram,
Do it.
YouTube. If you're following YouTube, like and subscribe this episode. Follow Jamie at Jordan Jamie, Tim at TB Hoosiers, and me at ST McGee. Like, we will have content all week. I'm thinking about creating some videos that we're going to talk about here in a second. But also, I just want to give this major plug. When Jamie came on last time, I went and signed up for Hoosier Huddle and paid. It's so cheap. It's like 30 some odd dollars a year. And just pay for an annual membership. And I'm absolutely loving it. Sammy and those guys do an amazing job. Go do that. If you're listening to this, it's nice.
Really
for them
appreciate
to
that. Yeah. Because those guys, I joined those guys because they've been doing this for, almost 13 years now. They put their heart and soul into it. It's like $3 to be a subscriber. The boards are free. The boards are fun. I'm on the boards. Sammy's on the boards. Who's the guy? All the people that work there, are on the boards. Appreciate the plug, man. It's very nice. And those guys, they do really good work. And it's just like, it's a bunch of just people that love IU football, writing about IU football. So, and talking IU football. So I really appreciate you plugging them.
So we talked about this last week, Tim. I'm addicted to doing clips and stuff. Here's what I'm thinking I need to do. And you got to tell me if I'm going right. If people make it to this end of the episode, they're getting a preview here. I want to go take some Feinbaum calls and like overlay them with Alabama's rushing attack this year. I'm just going to clip 25 clips of Alabama just running straight into their offensive line's backsides and just Feinbaum calls the whole time. Do you think that's going to resonate with Alabama and Indiana fans?
I think it's going to be, that's great. I need to figure out how to get on Feinbaum. That's actually
Trust me, Tim, sure. your clips from this episode that I'm going to spend the afternoon clipping, you might end up on Feinbaum.
I need Paul to let me on the show because I
think the way you get on is you just tell them you're Tim from Mobile or Tim from Sylacauga or something like that.
Yeah,
you can't be Tim from Indy because they won't let you on.
Tim from Shreveport, and
there you go.
For some reason I'm a fucking Alabama fan, even though I'm 250 miles away. So, something like that, or I gotta be like a Vanderbilt fan. I can't cosplay Alabama, but if I'll pretend to be a Vanderbilt fan, and they're like, yeah, let's, it just means more. Let's talk about the conference and SEC, and then I just unmask myself and tell them how much they stink.
The first person to chirp me online. Friday night, a Tennessee fan defending Alabama.
Yeah.
What is fucking wrong with this conference?
Absolute loser culture down there. Nothing but loser culture.
I'm like, it's your rival. You all like the smoke cigars, and you're coming in and telling me Indiana stinks and Alabama's gonna boat race us? I think that's one of the funniest. Miami boat races the Buckeyes. That would be fantastic for Ohio State to lose. I think that's so hard.
No, I'm sorry. I had to cut you off just because it's so amazing to me. I would never root for Purdue just because they're playing I just wouldn't do it. I can't imagine I could be like, oh, I guess I would prefer if Ohio State beat an SEC team, I guess, but I'm not going to go into people's mentions and be like, Ohio State. That is insane to me. It just in any fandom, honestly. I can't. I mean, Tim, you're a Bears fan. Would you be rooting for the Packers? I can't imagine.
Absolutely not.
I'm a Red Sox fan. I can't imagine rooting for the Yankees. It would make me sick to my stomach.
That's a great example. Yes.
I mean, it would literally. It's that is a team that I rooted against for so long, and when the Red Sox won in 2004, it was changed my entire life. It was an amazing experience. There's no way I'm rooting for the Yankees ever. So I can't imagine going into someone's mentions and just hawking a conference because your team is in the same conference. That is absolutely, it doesn't compute in my head.
I would wait until Purdue beat Georgia and then go laugh at Georgia because they lost to Purdue.
Correct. Yes, correct. Exactly. Yes.
Totally that's agree. How I would play it. If Indiana loses to Alabama, as a Tennessee fan, I'd come in my mentions and be like, hey, I can't believe you lost to that trash team from Tuscaloosa. That's what I would do. But instead, the guy's I'm bookmarking this. Like, for what?
Bookmark away.
Why?
Go ahead, man.
Like it is a wild culture down there, and I guess we don't. I mean, we just don't get it. It is loser mentality. Like their ancestors just kept losing and losing and losing. So like it is one of those things that like they look at us from the north and they're like, well, we've really never beaten those guys except for, those 10 years in college football. So every other time we have to like talk about those 10 years because we haven't won before and we're going to rally together. And by the way, those 10 years was like what? 3 teams in Auburn? Like that was it?
Yeah.
Like that one in those 10 years. And there's like 16 teams, 14 teams in that conference. So it is a wild place and I'm so excited. So follow us again on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, because it's going to be great. Jamie, thanks for guest hosting with us. It's always nice to
Thank
hear
you guys. Love it.
another opinion. As I said before, at least for me, a smarter opinion on the game than my emotional reaction to things. Tim texted me drunk last night, and I still have to clarify with him if we're recording a midweek episode. If not, it will just keep clipping this and get back on Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. I'll tweet a programming note on it. But for Jamie, I'm Tim. We're going to the Rose Bowl, and we're going to beat Alabama, and it's going to be a good one.
Let's
See you later,
go.
everybody.